What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Duck Dynasty, The Revival, Season 1, Episode 6. So, in this one, Uh, Lil Will and his wife are visiting, and Willie keeps trying to convince them to move back to West Monroe because they both have family in West Monroe. And Willie basically believes that, Robin should just live in West Monroe. So, like, Lil Will and his wife, they live in Dallas, Texas. And actually, I think Jep, Willie's brother, lives in Texas somewhere as well. I think. Anyway, but that don't matter. But for this episode, so. So Lil Will leads a youth group at a church in Dallas. And like he's trying to do some music and stuff. So Willie tries to convince him to make music down West Monroe. Tries to use like this like music museum to convince him. Then he takes him to Nashville to meet Luke Bryan, Tyler Farr, who are two pop singers who identify as country singers. They're not country singers. I'll just put that out there. Basically, Willie knows them because he's like business partners with them involving when it comes to like Buck Commander, the deer hunting side of the Duck Commander business. And so basically, Lil Will, like he says that he ain't he and his wife aren't gonna move back to West Monroe, but it's not an impossibility for the future. And basically, like, so Lil Will does like a little performance at some big local worship event, where he has to write a song for it. Put under a lot of pressure, but he's able to get it done. And I guess everyone enjoys it. Yeah. And then the other thing is, so I guess it's like there's like the Lunar New Year. So, like, so Rebecca's trying to, I guess, have her kids celebrate since that's what she grew up doing. And so John Reed's in charge of getting like the secret ingredient for the food. And John Reed is very much a redneck. And he basically his idea was the secret ingredient was squirrel. So basically what it is like, so all the women basically take the squirrel meat that John Reed like gets and make it into dumplings. And I guess it turned out well because I think Willie liked it. I think Corey liked it. So everyone was a little weird about having to prepare squirrel, but John Reed was very much a redneck. Was like he had no problem with it, and personally, I have no problem with it. I've never had squirrel. I don't know if I would enjoy it. I probably could. I probably would enjoy squirrel. I don't know about dumplings, but because I don't really eat dumplings, but I thought it was funny. I was like, all right, I respect this dude. I respect this guy because I think in the previous episode, I think he was the one who took his kid to hunt a deer. So he's like, okay, he had squirrel meat made to dumplings, and he took his kid deer hunting. This dude deserves a lot of respect. So I like this. And then like so Bella's who runs the museum and gift shop. Basically, there's like some kid's 11th birthday party is happening, and Bella needs help with it. She very reluctantly asked John Luke to help, and John Luke was the previous, I guess, head of the museum. And basically, when they do birthday parties, he goes way over budget and does way too much. And so Bella reluctantly asked John Luke to help because there's basically no one else. And John Luke goes over budget, and I guess is involved with it. Starts talking about Vietnam, and yeah, so uh, it's a very big bill that has to that basically the company has to pay because Bella actually wants him to make profit. John Luke when it comes to parties is not the best with money. So yeah, but over yeah. So yeah, I thought this was all funny. I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Rick and Morty season 8, episode 7. So in this one, Rick and Morty are pissed off at what happened to, I guess, the latest entry, the Maximum Velocity franchise. So like an in universe like fictional franchise. And so Rick's idea is to go to you take a portal to Warner Brothers and confront James Gunn about it. Since James Gunn is director and producer, and this episode James Gunn is voiced by James Gunn. And r- basically Gunn's response is like, "Oh, making movies is hard and all that." And Rick's like, "Okay, you want to try this?" So Rick makes a movielizer that basically it's like an AI thing to generate a movie. So they try to rewrite it to make something better. And then Jerry is like, of course Jerry liked the James Gunn movie. I don't think that's meant. I mean, I guess James Gunn is good enough sport to take a joke, but at least some jokes. But it's like, okay, you do realize Jerry being the only fan probably not the compliment you think it is. I mean, Jerry's the loser, and so Rick and Morty try to rewrite, and basically they tell the Moonlighter make them care, and so they're sucked in, and then bunch of stuff where more like basically like the main villain I guess gets killed, like, and basically they have to figure out how to keep the story going, because I guess they killed the guy off way too early. Because yes, if you're gonna kill the guy off, wait till the end to do it. That's just simple storytelling. I mean, and then Morty basically has become like that cactus guy's son. Then Rick like meets the is arrested and meets like the head the main character, the main like protagonist of that franchise imprisoned because basically the main villain was unarmed when he was killed, and so the protagonist is imprisoned for killing an unarmed person. Basically, that's what happened. So Rick befriends the guy. They break out of prison. Then Morty works with some, I guess, henchman named Samantha to melt the polar ice caps. Basically, to keep the story going. And then basically things go very out of control. And basically, Rick tells Jerry where to find some Adderall and for Jerry to write the ending. Basically, all goes over. And then during this, James Gunn meets up with Zack Snyder, who's voiced by Zack Snyder. And basically Zack Snyder, I guess, knows about Rick. He says, yeah, he's the guy who punished Christopher Nolan for creating Interstellar. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers could have a few things to say about Rick's response to Interstellar. I mean, Rick, I think, hates sci-fi in general, so I'm surprised he watched the that whole Maximum Velocity thing. So yeah, so basically James Gunn learns about the Moonlighter and decides to take it. It's a simple way to make movies. Then he takes like this. So Rick and Morty inside the film die, but which allows them to escape. And then James Gunn gets like some component that allows him, and he gives to Warner Brothers. He's like, "Hey, we can make movies, whatever. We can do what." Then Warner Brothers shoots and kills James Gunn and takes the component for themselves. And then Jerry uses the Moonlight to create, I guess, like a Space Jam 7. And I guess he's like, oh, LeBron, still do this, huh? And then and then Summer and so Summer, who for some reason been making raptor porn, um, accidentally uploads it into the Moonlighter. So the raptor porn is mixed with Um, Space Jam 7. You don't see what happens, thankfully. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see any of that crap. No. I don't know what the heck is up with Summer. But you just hear Jerry is like, what the heck is this? Yeah, so here's my problem with this. Look, here's the thing. As far as commenting on using a product to commentate on internet discourse or fiction, most people cannot do it well. Like Trey Parker and Matt Stone are really good about it because they've just developed a reputation and a style of making fun of everyone, regardless of if they agree with them or not. And they built up a lot of respect for that and a lot of immunity over the years. Like there's stuff that they agree with that they'll make fun of. I mean, like, problem is with Dan Harmon and basic art people, they don't have that reputation, or at least they went away from it. Like, unfortunate, like, basically the whole movies are hard thing. Why are you criticizing it? Like, I freaking don't like that argument. That's just a retarded argument. Like, it's like the whole, like, Chris Stuckman said, I'm not going to criticize movies anymore because I know how hard it is to make one. Yeah, that's just a retarded thing. I think it's kind of a pussy argument. I mean, no, yes, we know it's hard to make a movie. We know it's hard to make movies and shows. We know. Uh, us as audience members still have the right to criticize it if it sucks. If we have criticisms of it, we will criticize it. If we have what praise there is, we will give praise for it. Simple as that. Don't get all like problems with James, like James Gunn's on his high horse because he's making Superman, and he had two Guardians movies that were very successful, and a third one that barely made profit. I haven't seen the third one, so I can't necessarily say how good it is. But he has a Superman movie that had the worst marketing campaign, like one of the worst marketing campaigns ever. Like it would be like I honestly don't think Superman's making profit. Like at minimum, like with the if you use the 2.5 rule with the 225 million reported budget, you know, post tax exempts, if you do 2.5 times that, Superman needs 562.5 million dollars to break even. That's if you use that. Now it's possible just I don't know if the tax exemptions are included in the 2.5 rule. I have no idea. But either way, it needs a lot of money. I honestly don't think Superman will break even just with the marketing campaign and with basically everything that's released leading up to it. Like Peacemaker season 1 sucked. Season 2 hasn't released yet. I haven't seen Creature Commandos, but I haven't heard really anything good about it. I mean, I'll watch it just to review it and for season 2 Creature Commandos. And so like basically, I ain't like Suicide Squad. Like either one. I ain't like either Suicide Squad movie. Like I thought the King Shark portrayal was crap. Gosh, like this is just James Gunn getting off his high freaking horse. Okay, he's want to make fun of himself a little bit. He's trying to be a little edge lord. Zack Snyder trying to be edge, and Zack Snyder in this episode was correct about Superman. He's the Man of Steel, not the Man of Conversations. Like Snyder did get that right. Now it was in a TV show. There's a lot he got wrong. Superman, like letting his father die in a tornado. That is my biggest gripe with Man of Steel. And yeah, this is Problem is, the jokes were not done in good faith. I don't think. Like I don't think so. I think it's just Dan Harmon just trying to troll the audience. Like, ooh, we went to troll the what was it, Jennifer Gall, I think, who said was She Hulk, oh, we got to troll the trolls. We intentionally made something to piss off part of the audience. Yeah, here's just a fact. Yes, you know not everyone's gonna like what you make. Everyone knows that deep down somewhere. But trying to intentionally do that, make something that people hate, is a problem. That's a problem. If you do as well as possible, let's look at the Star Wars prequels. A lot of people don't like the prequels. I'm one of those that do like them. But was George Lucas trying to make something for people to hate it? No. He was trying to make good movies, do as good as possible. He probably knew not everyone's going to like it. And saying like his sequel trilogy, he knew not everyone would like it. But he was going to do as good a job as possible. And people respected George for that. You know, I mean, he had some other issues, like some of the continuity issues in TCW, the show I do like, but I do criticize its continuity issues. But for this episode, this is just James Gunn, Zack Snyder getting on their high horse saying, hey, look, the making movies is hard. We can't like you shouldn't criticize us if you don't know how movies are made. We know how movies are made. We know. We don't know every little detail, but we know. You have a camera, you have a production crew, you have actors, you have script, you have special effects or animation if it's animated. Yeah, like like basically yeah, producers, directors, like we know the basics. We don't know every little detail, but we what we do know is about is when someone's working on a specific franchise, we know what the franchise is. We understand better than most of the people who make it, who are involved with it. That is why we get pissed off because a lot of people, most people who are involved with these franchises, most of them don't care to try to figure out what the franchise is. Like, not everyone is Henry Cavill, who, once he learned that there were Witcher books, he read the books. Like, he only knew about the games, but once he learned about books, he read the books. And, he was very knowledgeable about, and became very knowledgeable about the lore because of that. And wanted to be very protective of the lore. And a lot of fans respect him for it. That's why a lot of fans want him to come back as Superman. Because they knew he cared about the character, care about how things go, and people respect it. It's probably the one only reason people are fine with a British guy playing an American superhero, because he could pull it off and show respect to the character. And Dan Cornsweat seems to be like for what little has been shown of him, he has seemed to be like a decent dude. As shown, he was someone was asking us some stuff he recommends to read, and I think he was recommending like the X-Wing novels, so like some EU stuff. I'm like, okay, basically him nerding out over stuff. I'm like, okay, why aren't we not seeing this? Should be David Cornsweet. You should be seeing the marketing, not James Gunn. James Gunn can't get out of his own way. He's just like to sniff his own farts or something, and figuratively speaking, not literally. And I honestly, like, if this was done in good faith, these jokes were done in good faith, and they were actually willing to make fun of everyone, like this isn't like this is why Trey Parker and Matt Stone are so different. They're actually willing to make fun of everyone, and they've not backed away from it. They rarely, Trey Parker and Matt Stone rarely back away from making fun of controversial stuff. Like The times where they have, honestly, I think it's due to the studio just saying no. Like it's a rare time the studio said no. And some specific instances I will not specifically mention as far as times where that may have happened to Parker and Stone. And South Park season 27 is coming back. It is airing soon. A few weeks. But yeah, this could have been a good episode. And I'm sorry. And I saw some people think that Jerry was representing the normie fans who are like, the whole consume product, get excited for next product. Uh, I can't remember who made that, who said the whole don't. I can't remember who was the name of the guy who said, don't ask questions, just consume product and get excited for next product. I can't remember who said that quote. A great quote, whoever it was. And yes, honestly that makes sense for Jerry because Jerry's kind of retarded. But it's the whole Hollywood wants us to just consume product, don't ask questions, and just get excited for the next product. They don't want us to think, to actually analyze what's being made, actually critique it. They don't want that. They just want us to be blind sheep, being led by them. Like they don't want us to care because they don't care. Like, I mean, very at least not like Dan Harmon probably does care a little bit about Rick and Morty. And now I think the show will be done once that 70 episode order is finished, which I believe that's 2 more seasons after this. Because I think it was after season 3, so I think it ends after season 10. But that's besides the point. Dan Harmon probably just cared a little about Rick and Morty. And he, I guess, did not like fans theorizing stuff about like Rick's backstory, Rick Prime, Eo Morty. Basically, like, I'll just give all this backstory so y'all would shut up. I'm like, yes, we want backstory, and that was a great episode, by the way. Whenever all that was revealed, that was a good episode. But it's like, this is not like now. It's like, okay, come on, like the show's not as good as these. Like, there's a way this could have been a really good episode, but the whole Rick's the Rick's the toxic fan, or he's just the one that goes along with it just to go along. Yeah, screw that. No, screw that. No, because the whole I don't like the making movies it's hard argument. I'm like, okay, yes, it's hard. Doesn't mean we're gonna criticize it sucks. I mean, building buildings is hard. Construction is hard, but but when someone does a bad job of construction something, they do get criticized for it, and in those cases, they have to fix it. Or if you're building an airplane, building a car, a bike, if it is hard to build those things, but when someone does a bad job, they are criticized for it, and repairs have to be made. Like, yes, there's a lot of stuff in this world that's hard. Making movies is one of them. That does not mean if someone did a bad job, they will be criticized for it. That is just a fact of life. Hollywood needs to accept that because a lot of them are still used to people blindly consuming stuff. They think that's what happened. No, people have talked to each other all the time. It's just with the internet, people were able to talk a lot on the internet about what they think about some stuff. Because you don't have all these media control like narratives. You have audience, like it's very audience controlled, not as much critic controlled. And that's something Hollywood has to deal with. And tough luck. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of this episode. So much missed potential here. Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound Mall, episode 1. So in this one, two college students, Magi and Ye, you know, Magi's a little annoyed by, one of their classmates, and then basically while they're talking, then this book falls on this dude that passes by and causes him to bleed from his head. And so they first try calling an ambulance. The guy says no ambulance because he can't pay for it and all that. He also says no cops because when cops around, and they like chase the guy a little bit, and then they take the guy to his house, and he introduces himself as Mogura, and basically like after meeting Mogura, when they leave when they the next day in class, Magi and Ye start seeing like some supernatural stuff, and then they go to Mogura to take some medicine for him, so that they don't want to like die while they're not there. And and then they start seeing spirits. Then Mogura explains everything a little bit, so that basically he was banished from the afterlife. He has to this little jar thing he has that has some life force phase he can consume. And then basically and what's funny is one of the spirits, like Magi's like, I was expecting something you see out of a shonen anime. And the guru is like, yeah, no, reality's not necessarily like that. And so what we're seeing, and basically this is just to introduce all the characters. Mogura mentions that I guess something happened in 1942 with him. I guess when he was alive, and what's implies that Mogura was drafted into the military during World War II. So yeah, I guess that's going to tie into what our next episode is going to cover. So yeah, I've not read the source material. Well, I think I've read the first chapter, which this episode adapts. Well, I think this episode may adapt multiple chapters. I don't think it's just the first one. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode, good pilot, and looking forward to the next one. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.